Okay, people, we're into Mark chapter 9 right now. And I want to pick up from the first little section there reading from verse 2. It says this: After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them to a high mountain. This was Jesus's inner circle. These were Jesus's 3 closest human companions. And there they were all alone. There he was, transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them. Don't you love that little bit of extra detail there? And there appeared before them Elijah and Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Now, Elijah was a representative of the prophets, that realm in which God spoke to the world and his people through the prophets. And Moses was there representing the law. He was the one who had brought the law to the world and the law to the Jewish nation. And these two great leaders in their own rights met with the greatest leader, Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He didn't know what to say. They were so frightened. Now, this is Peter speaking about, in fact, himself. He said, when you meet with Jesus and Elijah and Moses in one place and you're there with just a couple of your buddies, I'm going to tell you, you get a little bit nervous in the presence of 3 of the greatest men who ever lived. As they were coming down the mountain, suddenly, however, then a cloud appeared and enveloped them, and a voice came from the cloud, "This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him." I don't think God was negating the work of Elijah and the work of Moses, but he was saying, right now, the real deal is amongst you. Don't worry about the law. Don't worry about the prophets, as good as they may have been. Just listen to Jesus. And that was a great devotional thought for us. And then suddenly, when they looked around, they no longer saw anyone with them except Jesus alone. I love that statement, and I think there's some great devotional truth in it. And they saw no one but Jesus alone. These great preachers that there are around, they weren't standing with Jesus. There was no one standing with Jesus but Jesus alone. There were no representatives from the disciples that stood with Jesus. There was no great prophets and great kings. David wasn't there. Moses was there for a while and then he was gone. But God is saying, when Jesus stands center stage, I said it before, he stands alone. Not even Moses stands with Jesus. Now, when we look at our own lives, could it not be a great truth for us to think about who stands alone in our lives? Because that will be the number 1 person in your life. And that number 1 person determines, and it says so much about who you are. You know, there's no smells and no bells when Jesus is standing alone. There's no rituals and sort of religious behavior. When Jesus stands alone, he stands alone. There is only him. And I have to tell you, people, the older I get, the more simple my faith becomes. It's Jesus and Jesus only. It's not Jesus plus what some great preacher says. It's not Jesus plus what some great theological person says. As much as they may say good things or bad things, it's Jesus and Jesus alone. And when you stand with Jesus, you know you're in the majority because there's no one that can share center stage with him. I think in your life today, this is a good start to chapter 9. Who's number 1? Who are you listening to, first of all? Don't listen to me. Jesus stands alone. If Jesus speaks and I speak, don't worry what I say. That means zip. That means absolutely nothing. When Jesus stands, he stands alone because there's no one that can compete with him. There's no one that can contend with him. There's no one that can compare with him. He is Jesus, and he stands alone, and that's all you need. When it's just you and Jesus, you'll find that you have enough. You don't need any of the other stuff. You just have him. I often look at our church and I think we got a lot of stuff going on, and in a sense it's all really good stuff. I love it, and really we need to do it. But at the end of the day, when it's all been taken away, I just want Jesus to be able to stand and to stand alone. That should be true of our lives as well. Keep busy, keep doing stuff, keep witnessing, keep ministering, keep praying, keep reading your Bible. But when it's between that, all that activity and Jesus, Jesus has to stand alone. Now, what I've just said will probably mean different things to different people, but I do want you to ponder it today and just think about, does Jesus stand alone when everything else is gone? As much as those other things are good, I pray and hope it's all about Him. Have a great day, you people, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.